Hello, we're back and we're going to talk to Curtis some more about his career as a guitarist. Okay, and we are back with Curtis and we're going to keep talking about all kinds of stuff in regards to his guitar playing and his life and who knows what all. So, so something I've wondered when you're an instrumentalist, a guitarist, and you don't have vocals, you don't have lyrics, because normally songwriters kind of start with lyrics, you know, I think generally they do, and then they add music to it. Maybe I'm wrong on that? I'm wondering about your songwriting process.
I think it all depends. I mean, sometimes it comes together, you know, at the same time, and for me, almost always it's the music first and the melody. For me, melody is chief of the things. And when I write a piece of music, and I have a melody, I don't know right away whether it's a lyric song or an instrumental. Oh, it could go either way. Ah, I mean, you can do. I mean, there are plenty of well, back to the jazz thing. So Someday My Prince Will Come has lyrics to it, right? But right. You can hear the melody. I don't want to keep going back to that soon. But there's plenty of songs. Like if you were to hear you know, Hey Jude as an instrumental, you'd know what the song is. Mm-hmm. Or if I play the melody to Happy Birthday, mm-hmm. right? So it works. It's arrangement, right? And how you want to do it in instrumentation. So you know, so I think, you know, you going back to the origin when I finished the band with the band that I was in was a vocal based, right? It was mm-hmm. you know and I did reflection on what is the music that I really keep going back to, that I really love listening to, mm-hmm. and a lot of it was instrumental, you know. I mean, I was listening to a lot of Jeff Beck, who was a huge influence, you know, all instrumental, you know, and really in learning and discovering jazz and Miles Davis and Charlie Parker. I mean, this is all way before my time. Yeah. And then some of the instrumental parts of songs that are vocal were some of my favorite parts, you know. And then the work of Pat Metheny, which is again a more contemporary jazz artist, and in some of his stuff, he actually uses vocals where it is kind of a support role, like an instrument, where he has a Portuguese singer and stuff. So it's not like a pop song with and you hear it. So
you worked with him?
No. I listen and learn from him. Right?
Gotcha.
Yeah. That would be great to meet him. But I have not. But I guess what I'm saying is that. If you set out and wanting to write a vocal song, then yeah, perhaps you write the lyrics first, or you have a lyricist. You know, I know like Bernie Taupin, who worked with Elton John, he would write all the lyrics, and then Elton would put music to it. Mm-hmm. Right, so that's the formula worked. It's brilliant, right? Oh, you know, others, it's all happening at the same time. For me, again, you know, I hear the music first, and then the lyrics. And if you get a chance to, one of my favorite scenes in the series Get Back for the Beatles, it was a documentary that was done, and I got chills on it because they're in the studio and there's Paul McCartney in the corner, and you could see he's writing, he's humming, he's doing this music stuff, and it's Get Back, and you're seeing him write Get Back right in front of your eyes. It's caught on camera, and he doesn't know he's being filmed, or he does, because they filmed everything, and you can see it. And again, the music's coming first, and they went through, and some of the early lyrics were all placeholder music. And that lyrics. I mean, it was like, you know, yesterday we started off as scrambled eggs. I don't know, that's a thing. A lot of people know that.
What?
Scrambled eggs. Scrambled eggs.
I never knew that.
Yeah. I mean, when he was developing his melody using placeholder words. You know, eventually it became yesterday,
and so could be silly.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. I mean, you know, and sometimes those words stick, but you know, I don't know if it would have been as big a hit if it was scrambled eggs, right? It was a breakfast song versus a song about life or whatever.
Although they probably could have sold it to a company that serves food and made a fortune.
Yeah, but my approach to lyric writing is you know. I don't want throwaway words.
Do you collaborate with anyone?
On not recently, but in the past, you know, so when in the band context.
Post band.
Not with lyrics, no.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I said, most of the stuff I do is instrumental. But so I'm actually finishing a song that I recorded the basics years ago, and I was never happy with the lyrics. Now I'm revisiting that. It's interesting having that gap in time of, you know, you wrote lyrics and then now you're a different person.
Oh, right.
You know?
It's like getting a tattoo at some point, and then
You go, what is this thing?
that's
right?
not me at all anymore.
Well, yeah, we change. I mean, and this is. It goes with the tones that you like to hear and the timbres and things. But yeah, certainly lyrics are so personal, and if they don't resonate.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So you mentioned your band Lunatic Fringe that you used to play with, right? You have video of that band also.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a song in particular that you know what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
It's called Sexual Sensation. And it goes back, where was that performed?
Well, we had somebody in the band that knew some film students, and they wanted to do a film project. And this is back again when people didn't have camera equipment. I mean, they basically borrowed the camera equipment from their job without the boss knowing, because of stuff all that, right? I mean, you guys had to do it, right? You had to go. Yeah. You're going to check this stuff out and don't break anything. But so basically they wrote a whole storyline for it. You know, I mean, so it's like it was the whole time of music videos, right? Where you have the band in the scenario, and then they came to a show we did at the Roxy, which is in Hollywood, and they filmed footage there backstage and also the show. That is spliced into that.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So that's the live footage is from the Roxy?
From the Roxy, and then it
was on Sunset in Hollywood, yeah.
And then back to the editing too. I can't even tell you what they used for the editing, but they certainly didn't have modern computer workstations to do all the editing. Yeah. It could have been two dubbing things. Who knows? I don't know. Okay. It's pretty primitive.
So let's watch a little bit of it, not the whole thing. We won't watch the whole thing, but a clip of Sexual Sensation by Lunatic Fringe, and you can see that it's vintage. Wow, that's a lot of memories in that video. Yeah. I'm having flashbacks,
Yeah, no, it's, we were just talking about how you're a different person, Like, I would have a tough time, like, teaching my band we're going to do this song I used to do and do that song. It just wouldn't.
You were rocking it out on that song, too. Big time.
I'd have to change it and do something to it.
Right. Do you have any good stories, speaking of the Roxy and clubs, like Hollywood clubs in particular, I'm thinking, do you have any stories of any disastrous shows where if it could go wrong, it did go wrong, or maybe something big went wrong? Yeah,
well, probably more than one. I mean, one that just popped into my mind, and this was the thing, I mean, even, when I was in my 20s, I wasn't one of those people that would easily stay up to 3 or 4 in the morning, right? It's like, and so anyway, but we had an opportunity to play, some cool happening club or whatever, and, we're going on at midnight or 1 in the morning, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, of course we got there at 9 or 10, so we're sitting around for hours waiting to play. We get on stage, we play, I don't even remember the name of the club or where it was. It was, again, one of those kind of pop-up places, like, how Scream would travel around. That was one, right?
Totally. So that was a club that went everywhere in LA.
Right, exactly.
Depending on the week.
And we're playing, and then there was a gunshot, and then all the lights came on, and basically someone was shot at the club.
Oh
so
my gosh.
so our set was cut short. So we played a couple songs, and I just remember going to bed thinking, wow, what if that bullet had come and hit my guitar or something,
Yeah. Oh my
or
gosh.
me.
That's like one night I booked a club, Madame Wong's, which was a club in Santa Monica, California.
East or west?
West. Yeah, which was in Santa Monica, California. And I remember one night, it was two-story. There were bands that played upstairs and downstairs. And one night it was in the men's room shooting up the toilets. And it's
wow.
Why? I have no idea, right? But I was like, okay, so they had to clear people out. And, thank God nobody got hurt at that,
Yeah.
But I could write a book about, and I'm sure you could too, just about club experiences playing live.
So.
Yeah. So let's see. We talked about that. Oh, let's talk a little bit about AI and how you think that may affect or enhance guitar playing or music in general. Because this is all brand new, just really recently.
Well, and
our worlds.
it'd be interesting too, so as we talk about this, and then someone coming back 10 years from now to see what we had to say about it, is it's early on, I think, and there's some similarities to like when the internet came. Right, it was this hype curve, as it's called, right? Of here's the internet, and and you remember all the .coms that came in, and it was the gold rush kind of, right? Oh yeah, this is the world's changing, and we have access to all these things, and then and then it kind of leveled off, and the limitations were discovered, right? And then it went up this ramp. It came out of what they called the trough of disillusionment, right? and starts going the trough of disillusionment. So
is that an actual term?
Yeah, it's a term. I forget. I think it's these analysts called Gardner that they look at trends, and so you have this hype curve where things go up, and then it starts to decline, and then it hits down here where it's like, all the promises that we had, it just didn't do, right? I mean, that was the thing, and then it steadily goes up, and it hits, and it can go on for a long time, right? And we see this, and a lot of it's driven by the media and everything else. But so AI, the concept of machine learning and AI have been around for a long time. But now we have these things, and this happens a lot of times, of things coming together where you have certain processing power, right, and all this, and the programming, and then it happens, and then we get something like ChatGPT, and people's minds are blown, or Dolly. I have to tell you, when I was coming up with the concept for this, I'm like, okay, I'm not I can do a lot of good things, things well, but I cannot draw to save my life. So if I wanted to get the idea of what it looked, I used Dolly. And I said, give me a picture of James Dean walking down the street with telephone poles and a guitar slung. And it gave me basically a mocked up thing within seconds of what it's like. So that I could show the photographer, this is kind of what I want to do.
Your concept.
My concept. And that was an example of AI was a huge time saver. Now, did I put a graphic artist out of work for that? Well, not really. I hired a photographer to do it, and I didn't, fake it for the bit. I used it as a tool, and I think that's what it comes down to, and that's the way I view AI. Ultimately, things will change. People's jobs, the type of jobs they have is going to change, and how we approach music is going to change with things. And for music specifically, we've seen similar things like this come up. Like, for instance, in the '80s when drum machines came around.
And I bought one. Yeah,
and they were huge for song. I remember buying I had a couple. I had a Yamaha R8, I think it was, and and you could program these patterns, and the interface was crude and stuff, but you would have this, and it really created this whole genre of music in the '80s. The whole new wave thing was based on it, and there's probably a lot, and still are a lot of pissed off drummers. I know my drummer hates drum machines. Right? But
so you're thinking that if the drum machine and sequencers too hadn't come into being at that time, that maybe music wouldn't have taken that direction, the bands of that time.
Yeah, it happened when Les Paul invented multi-track recording. right? It used to be
that's
where you could do
right.
sound on
Les
sound and
Paul,
stuff,
yeah.
and so that technology.
Les Paul was, how would you describe?
He, a brilliant guitar player and inventor, and one of the things that he invented was multi-track recording, and it evolved, and then and it went to 2 tracks to 4 tracks, and then they combined it. Now we have infinite in the computer, right?
Yeah.
But my point being is that when you have certain technology things that come along, then it influences it. The development of what are called distortion or fuzz pedals for guitar, came about in the 60s, and Jimi Hendrix capitalized on that, and his sound was built on a fuzz face through
And everybody got one.
yeah, and it evolved from there. So those are pieces of technology that are used, and I mean there's many other things you go on, and so now we have AI, which artificial intelligence, what does that mean? And so I view it and plan to use it and learn about it and try to use it as a tool.
I'm curious to see what.
Yeah,
what
like
it
one,
takes you.
and I think too, if you have you played with ChatGPT at all?
No.
Okay, so basically you give it prompts for what you want to do, and it's very good to help with your writing. Now, I consider myself to be good at writing, in the written word, but sometimes
So
you
you're
get
talking about text, written.
text, right? Yeah. So Dolly is images. ChatGPT is all text, and so you can ask it questions, or you can say, here's my bio. I've written it. Can you give me some variations on it? And it will do that. Or can you proofread it for me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is an area. So in the future, a good career path of proofreading is probably not good, right?
Right.
Journalists are not going to go away,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But proofreaders maybe, right?
Yeah.
So here, and I'm going to experiment with this, is and they've already done this, is write me a song in the style of Jay-Z, and it comes up with a rap,
Right.
and it doesn't write melodies yet.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, and I've heard some of the AI generated music. I mean, and this is the thing for like bed music and background music is for a certain thing, and say, do me a 100 beats per minute, a kind of a reggae thing, with and it's amazing where it is now. What's it going to be in 5 years?
Right.
And we're seeing this, and so that's the question is then that puts an emphasis on how important the organic elements of art are.
Right.
And it's when I'm saying art, it's not just music. It's going to be film. It's going to be music.
Yeah.
It's going to be painting. Everything is that human element of it. Because you can make a great song that is emotional that uses a drum machine, right?
Yeah.
They're out there.
Yeah.
But there's still a human voice, and the composition that created the melody and the arrangement of it and all that stuff.
Right.
So
It can be written from someone's personal life, their personal experiences, and that kind of thing.
so that'll be the trick. So that's I guess the short answer is
What to do with it. Yeah.
the short answer is that it's a tool.
Yeah. Right.
And tools
Let's
can be
hope that-
misused though.
This is true. This is true.
Anyway,
we hope that doesn't happen.
No.
We pray that doesn't happen.
Let's go back to organic. You have some of your guitars here with you. Can you show some of your guitars
Okay.
and explain what they are, and then talk about what application, like maybe 2 or 3 of them, we don't want to do it too in depth, but talk about what application you would use that particular instrument for.
Okay, yeah, I can kind of give you, and it'll be appropriate. I'm going to start with this guitar. I've had this guitar the longest, and this is actually a Les Paul.
A real Les Paul.
And Les Paul, again, we were just talking about one of the things he was involved in the creation of this guitar through Gibson. And
So beautiful.
yeah, and you'll see it's heavy. Feel how heavy that guitar is.
Oh my gosh. Okay, take it back.
Yeah. So this is, I got this when I was in high school. And it was a dream guitar at that point, and
It still is a dream guitar. Right?
but you know what? I don't play it that much. I use it in recording. I never play it live because it's heavy, and so I don't consider myself a Les Paul player.
Okay.
And
Are there people that consider themselves?
like Slash. You ever seen him without a Les Paul?
I wouldn't know.
Oh, okay. Well, if you see a picture, you'll see a guitar that looks a lot like this.
plays the Les
Yeah.
Paul.
I did a photo shoot where I played a guitarist. It was just a photo shoot, and I was shocked by how heavy the electric guitars were. My shoulders started to hurt from the strap, and I was like, I never knew I had a new respect.
And then on this
guitars.
guitar too, this is a little heavy. It's a little top heavy. But Jimmy Page is known for playing Les Paul. I mean, if you see from Led Zeppelin. You know.
Okay.
But anyways, so certain players kind of get known for certain kinds of
Okay.
guitars, and so this, like I said, I've had this. I've almost sold it a couple times, and I'm glad I didn't. That's the thing.
No, don't do it.
Because I tend to you know, if I'm not using something, sell it. But anyway, I've kept it, and
You do?
yeah.
Unlike a lot of guitarists, it'll just hang on to.
Yeah, no, I tend to.
They'll have 20 guitars. and-
Yeah, no, I mean, I have a, you know, a good, you know, small collection, but I use them. The ones I have, I use. So, but I did use use this tune on several of the tunes. Maybe not as a feature, but as part of it. So, but the other guitar that's worth seeing here is kind of the yin yang in electric guitars. This is a Fender Stratocaster.
Oh, we've heard a lot about
Right,
those.
the Fender Stratocaster.
All of you may have heard
Right.
a lot about Fender Stratocasters.
And so, you know, I mean, you know, in a lot of ways, Jimi Hendrix kind of put this on the map, right? This is the favorite guitar that Jeff Beck would play, right? And many others.
When did you acquire this guitar?
Gosh, I don't know how long I've had this. 15
Did I
years.
really just
So-
say acquire? I did. didn't
You
I?
acquired, yes, I did. I did buy this new. This is so the thing with Fender did it successfully is the brand and the name Stratocaster. They've been able to create a thing where there are very cheap Strats you can buy for like $200-300 made in Mexico or something like that. Same kind of basic aesthetic, and then they're very high-end ones. And so this is an
So they have the whole range now. Huh?
yeah, but it still has the same look. Yeah, imagine if Chevy made a Corvette that was $10,000 and one that was $80,000. And
But they
there
look
was
the same.
basically the
But the
basic body is.
performance was
Yeah, the engine's different. The paint job's different.
Okay.
You know, the components are different. Definitely, the components are different. So that's the thing. You know, the attention to detail. So this is an Eric Johnson model Stratocaster that to his spec that to one of his vintage Strats. And so this, you know, this is a great guitar.
And will you explain what these are and how it
So,
it works? Just
so
real
yeah,
basic.
these are pickups, and these
Let's
are
try to
basically
play the camera
these are pickups. There's pull pieces here for each of the strings, and it's basically magnets wrapped in wire, and then through electromagnetic application, as the string vibrates, the field it vibrates this mechanical field, which creates a small voltage. Small voltage then comes out here and is amplified in the amplifier.
And you plug this into an amplifier.
Right, it goes out.
That's how you hear the guitar.
Exactly. So you can hear it, you know, acoustically, but then you plug it in. This is volume and what's called tone. That's bass and treble, essentially. And so this one has 3 pickups here, and then this controls which one. So that's this, that's these two, that's this, that's these two, and then that's it.
Depending on the sound.
The
that you
sound, it
want.
creates different sounds. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So.
And do all guitars have tone controls on them?
No,
Electric guitars?
not all. Not all. Yeah, you can choose to keep them off. A lot of them do.
The budget
right,
line,
right.
the Stratocaster doesn't.
Well, no, actually, I mean, that was the thing. Yeah, like get to in a second, but you know, Eddie Van Halen, he made his own guitar, and it had one knob. He didn't, you know, didn't use
Volume.
the tone. Yeah, volume, exactly. But one thing that Fender and Leo Fender invented was this. Again, this is the vibrato bar, which is where you can control
Which
the
is
pitch
also
of the
called
string.
a wah-wah or something. Is it?
Wang. A wang bar
A
or
wang bar.
or vibrato. It's not a wah-wah would be the pedal that goes wah, wah, wah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it has springs on the back, and so this floats here, and so then you can go. I had it set up to go up or down.
Cool.
And so this is a big part of some players, and I prefer.
Okay, let's just
I
point
prefer
that way.
I prefer guitars that do have a bar because I like the way it controls pitch.
Okay.
So, and then the last one to show, which is essentially kind of a mirroring of these two guitars, is basically a Strat type of guitar, but with a humbucker pickup here.
and
so,
what is that?
So this is like the Gibson has these bigger pickups here. Electronically the way it is it has a different sound.
Okay.
And it's a little crunchier, for lack of a better word. And so this is a Suhr guitar that is based but doesn't violate the copyright on the Stratocaster, but it's inspired by that. It has
It's
the
a
bar.
Sur guitar?
Sur, yeah, S-U-H-R. And so you got the springs.
Oh, that's
It's
the brand
The
name?
brand, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so this is very, very high-end, attention to detail, special wood and the paint, everything about it, So this is one of my main guitars. But you can see, so it's a combination of, it doesn't sound exactly like either of these, but it's its own thing, but it, so I would kind of consider it a hybrid.
And let's talk a little bit about the fretboard too, and up to it's the head of the guitar, right?
Yeah, headstock.
Headstock.
Yeah, the tuning pegs.
All right, so that's where you tune the strings.
Yeah.
And then, and are there fretless guitars that don't have these lines? Is what that would be.
There are, and I don't have one.
Okay, like there's fretless basses too.
Yeah, and it's a whole different kind of sound.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
So.
Okay. Well, thank you for showing us those. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. And let's see, what else do we want to? Oh, we want to talk about this. You wrote a book.
I did.
did.
Mainly interviews, actually.
Yes, let's show your book, and we'll get a shot of this too.
This
It's called Tone
Wizards.
Tone Wizards.
Interviews with top guitarists and gear gurus on the quest for the ultimate sound. And so I was on a family vacation, and vacations, I don't always wind down right away. It's like,
It does take a while.
because it's like, I should be doing something, right? On vacation.
You're feeling guilty because you're.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the things that I do is I brought a book to read, and I was I think James Altucher book, but one of his things is every day write down 3 ideas. So force yourself to get into the habit of coming up with ideas.
Okay.
And so because my mind's working on my vacation, so I have to come up with ideas and stuff. And so anyways, the idea for this book came about. What if there was a book where there was an interview in depth with players and also the people that make gear on what is individual sound and tone and style, and how is it the gear related with the gear and the player, and where is the connection? And so I came up with a series of questions that I would ask, similar questions to all these people, and so you would see as you go chapter to chapter the variations and similarities between what they have to say.
I love that. Yeah.
So. And any idea, the inspiration of it is like, that's a great idea, and then you get into it and how hard it is. And I worked through a lot of personal, because reaching out and trying to push through walls to get past gatekeepers to try to get people to agree to get the interviews was very difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, really hard.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking about that when I saw some of the names that you have on there, like who are some of the people you interviewed?
Well, like one that comes to mind that helped. So I interviewed John Sur, the guy who actually makes these guitars, and had a great interview with him. And then afterward, I said, "Hey, is there anybody you can connect me with to do this?" Right? And he gave me Peter Frampton's contact.
Oh my gosh!
And if you read the chapter on it, he goes way back with Peter Frampton in New York. When he was working there, and some of the early guitars. And so some of that was the referral. People I had known through the years, like Carl Verheyen. I've known for a long time. He was the first person I asked. In fact, I bounced it. Carl Verheyen. He's a famous studio guy. Also plays guitar for Supertramp and has solo.
Oh, wow.
He also does a lot of guitar-based stuff. Great guy, great player. But and kind of a mentor in the sense, I reached out to him and said, "What do you think about this idea?" I bounced it off him. He said, "Yeah," and so that's basically the first interview, and then worked it from there. And there's a lot of people in there. I can't go through each one, but it was then getting the interviews and then getting them transcribed. That was huge, and I was able to find somebody on.
You didn't do that yourself?
No, I couldn't. There was just no way I couldn't do it. But then I did all the editing and the book ending of it, you know, context on all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was a 2-year project. I mean, it really a lot of my other musical stuff went on hold when I did this.
Oh,
You know,
right.
obviously.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where I had gotten you know, this bug that's I have to do this.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's one of the things too, and maybe this is part of my nature is like I you know, if I decide to do something, I finish things. You know.
Right. You don't have a zillion projects that
Yeah,
are
you know.
unfinished.
Now I have plenty of songs I haven't finished because at some point, you know, you can't force it, right? If it's
Yeah.
not going to, if it's not coming, then
Yeah, it's got to
Let-
be organic.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. When I was younger, I fought that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to finish this thing.
Right.
And now it's like, hey, write another one.
Beat yourself up.
Let it go. Write another one.
Right. Okay, we're getting close to the end of the interview portion of the show. So let's see, was there anything else I wanted to ask you? Let me just double check. Oh, your mom, I just wanted to bring up that your mom has painted paintings.
Yes.
And they're hanging here in your studio. We will show pictures of these
Okay.
paintings.
Yeah.
But,
And many others she has.
oh, yeah. So creativity is in your family.
Yeah, yeah. She also did stained glass and pottery, and
Oh my
but painting, pastels, watercolors, and oils were her thing. And so, yeah.
They're beautiful, and we'll show these paintings.
and so, unfortunately, she passed away before I actually did my stuff as a solo artist.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, you know, she saw me play, you know, in the band and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the Out of the Shell record is actually one of her paintings. They
Right,
show that.
Yeah. Let's go to your performance. In the next segment of the show, we're going to hear Curtis play on his guitars, I say.
I'll probably just use one.
And he'll tell in that segment what he's going to play. He'll speak a little bit about each of the songs he's going to play, and he'll introduce it and say what he's going to be doing. So check back, and we will have Curtis's performance. See you there.